Hello everyone, and welcome to the first Siege and Sandfox stream of the year. We had a month off. Month off? Yeah, about a month off. So I'm the designer on the project, as normal, and also joining me is our producer, Aidan Howe. Hello.
Hello.
There we are. How are you?
I'm great. I just
Exactly.
managed to get out in time there because I'm rusty of muting the stream before I could hear myself.
Yes, it's the same for me. I'm very rusty, so this will be fun. I'm sure nothing will possibly go wrong. So how about that video game that we're doing? The first thing I was actually going to do is I was going to talk about, actually show the build we had in December, but then I realized actually we did do that at the end of December. So I figure what's better is actually if we just have a little noodle through, and I think I will remember things. I will remember things that happened that we changed that we can talk about, and other than that it's kind of hard to remember what's new, so do let me know if there's obvious stuff that I haven't thought about. Oh yeah, there's something already. So for the longest period of time we wanted to have these ghosts created with Sequencer, and as you can see there's still a couple of issues, but they are made in Sequencer finally. Yeah, it's such a shame.
They're a little bit help me Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I was going to say, if we were making a sci-fi game, they are done.
Yeah,
but unfortunately
we're not. If this was more cyberpunk, if only we could get more neon in here, Chris.
Yeah, well, I've tried. So anyway, that's a cool thing. It needs a bit more work because, it's kind of revealing some of the way the character is actually being moved around. It's copying. It's recording exactly what's happening rather than what we present. So we'll figure that out. But it's still neater, and makes me want to go back and revisit the whole object because there's still other things it needs to do. Like the main thing is now we've got more controllers. It shouldn't just loop endlessly on its own because it's quite distracting. And you can give it a nice swooshy trail and everything. But anyway, it's an improvement. And I'll pick up some of the user test stuff that I remember because this one's obvious. Here's a great example of me just shoving in this one orange block. Every single person that played it, we've had it before, but I don't know what's changed, but just not a few people. Every single person just tried to wedge their nose into this gap.
Yeah.
And, in general, that's good because, once you're a couple of rooms in, I don't mind you having a, look up somewhere. Oh, having a look up in places like that. That's totally fine. But
that
here,
was an incredible wall run thing.
I know.
Shouldn't have been able to do that. I guess.
Oh, my God. That was so incredible.
Uh-oh.
That I didn't like it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God, thank God this isn't a release.
No more looking at incredible things, Chris.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous.
I had to do it. I had to poke the bear. That's fine. Oops. Yeah, well, where was I? Unsurprising that disrupted me.
You were talking about the ghosts.
Yes. We can do other stuff with them now.
Poking up into that hole early on in the tutorial.
They just really like that. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But there it's more important that obviously we just want you to jump and just kind of get on moving through, and people would nudge into it and then they would try and jump and sort of slide backwards a bit. And it's just, we started to work on making, God, it does take longer to load the first time. We started to work on just making it feel a bit smoother than it did before, which I think mostly paid off, but there's some stuff that will come up shortly that has not worked out just yet. Come on, game. There we go. Okay, so then we're running up that wall. Oops.
No, I worry about running up walls in general now.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
You're right, cut it.
Uh-oh.
No, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
Probably something to do with hitting your head on that.
Yeah, I didn't like it very much. Okay, so yes, this little nudging bit over here was not so good, so we have stopped that. But then mostly this hasn't changed. At the moment I've got a way too overzealous point of interest that I need to nudge over because, again, I noticed some people were much more interested over here on the right, which I kind of get. It does look quite interesting. So yeah, just a subtle thing there. But other than that, not too much has changed here for those that watch regularly. For those that don't, the whole point of these jumps is just to start telling people about our different height jumps. So the only way you can get up here is by holding A a little bit longer to get your big jump. And the same with this one. It took a couple of tweaks because creative people managed to find ways to still do, the other jump or get to it from here, stuff like that. So it's just one of those things where this looks like a shape, you'd knock out straight away, but actually it took a couple of goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was much simpler looking before.
Yes. Oh, hi. More whitebox.
Whoops. That's not supposed to be there.
That's okay. It doesn't really matter. Only slightly matters.
That tile map mustn't be on the sub-level that I think it's on, because it's up to date in terms of what it's doing.
Yeah.
It's just not up to date in terms of where it is. So it's going to need nudging left and up, in fact.
Mm-hmm. Oops. So yeah, same deal here. This is just going through these moves, and this is actually as good a time as any to mention. So a lot of the issues we had is that we'll show you the rest of the tutorial stuff, but I think people picking it all up, and that was quite nice. But a lot of the controls, doesn't feel like there is a lot of latency in it. And there's areas where it will just ignore your input. And here's a great example. If I jump up here, and of course I'm running a later build where it's fixed, but I can imagine it. If I jump up here, and then if I press A just as that animation starts, the settling animation, it just goes, nah, I don't care about that, and I'll just hang there forever. And when you watch people play it, you see that a lot of people just start mashing A just to kind of cover that, and you're like, yeah, I understand why you do that. I love this, by the way. I don't know what happened to this sequence, but it ain't right.
maybe it is though, Chris. Maybe that's how we should be doing shimmy.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty glorious.
Hylian says in the chat, I can't wait until Nintendo Switch porting process. I can. Perhaps. Okay, so yeah, we'll cover this white box stuff later. It's not important now. I just want to go through, what we had before, but what things did change. This stuff all basically, oops, little bug there. This stuff all basically behaves, so that's cool. I would say honestly, this first section, unsurprisingly, it's had the most iterations. Pretty much most people get through it, in about the same time, in about the same way, which at that stage of the game is ideal. That's exactly what we want to happen. Same with this bit as well. This kind of works, and again, it needs some extra love, but these ghosts are cool. That's much more representative. It just feels nicer, even though obviously it stops too early. Classic design move here. I broke this by mistake. I think I half did it and then stopped, so you can't actually get through here. But anyway, whoops. So this is where things start to not work so well. Needs a bit of a rethink. So that's actually why I put that there, but I didn't finish the work. Is people are still just going crazy off here. Like they just jump straight off there, and they don't really, make as much use of this as you would like. I might have to stop this thing to get this building navigation thing to go away. We'll see. Actually, let's just try and let that do its thing. I think it really crashed, so I might let it do that.
Map over then while you're letting it do its thing.
It's running super slow. I wonder what this is up to. Not reassuring. That's fine. Right, who's eating on my CPU? Oh no, it is Unreal Engine. Okay, at least you're honest. Yes, certainly I can move that over. I may not have the very latest update, who knows, but let's move that over. And because I'm lazy, let's just stick you back over here. And I'll just let Unreal finish building its navigation. Don't want to upset it any more than is necessary. Come on.
You might coax it. Let's gently coax it. Come on, Unreal.
There's some more navigation around here. Are you interested? Yeah, I think it only tries to rebuild that when it gets very upset. Right, that seems a bit better. Still not perfect, but whatever. It's live. Okay, so this just doesn't work. And admittedly, I'm still not quite sure what to do about the left-hand side of it. It doesn't reveal the way I hoped, and people don't treat it the way I want. So, just need to think about it. And this as well, it doesn't work quite as well as I'd hoped. That I only come up here just to note one thing in particular. Everyone plants their head into that wall. They don't see it. I think since then, again, I don't know how this translates over the stream, but I think Keith has actually made some changes to make that edge more visible, so it's probably better now. But it's just one area. Oh, what the hell? Where I think this is a frame rate thing as well. Builds. But anyway, there's some weird stuff going on there we need to look at. But the main thing is this just doesn't work either because, well, to be honest, I kind of thought it might not work. This is definitely where I was trying two different ways of doing it. So this one, the deal is like with the point of interest, it doesn't move until you press the thing. And the other one we'll see later just moves beforehand. And the thing is, this would work if, well, it still wouldn't work well, but it would work better if you had an animation that locked you to that, like a small little pull in a lever animation. Because there isn't, in reality what happens is most people would push it, be jumping in the air as the camera moved down. So, and the other one's so much better, so I don't care. Go on.
There's an argument for us to make more of levers, isn't there, really? If you went to a lever and you went high lever and it went high and you press X, it's like, right, now we're a thing. And now you've got to press X. I don't know. Maybe they're an effort to pull. Maybe they make a noise. Maybe you've got to do some hammering.
I think more can be done with them.
Yeah, we can make more of them. I mean, it's a long way around solving this very small problem, which my suggestion would just be to move the poi earlier. Like if you move the point of interest when you get to the lever.
Yeah, that's what the other one does, and I agree that's better. And I think when we revisit them, we can look at having some. If you're held in place, you've got a bit more control over the timing.
Because it's a really harsh trigger box. You just put it over that lever, and if it's on, then you're like, "Hey, look at this!" And as soon as you're not near the lever, it goes, "Okay, I guess you're not interested," and kind of gives you the natural camera back.
And this is gone.
How do you feel about offsetting this shaft? Because it feels like you kind of did it there. You dodged it when you slid down, or moving that lift up so that it's
maybe. I mean, this is something I was going to say.
It looks nice.
Yeah, it's a kind of half finished thing, right? Like in my mind, just go up here. Oh, come on. Like this is meant to be, it's always intended later on to be more of a moment. It's more dramatic when it opens, and it's more of a thing when you fall down it. I agree though, you're probably falling too far. And Ollie's talking about for the lever, like it needs to make a cool noise, and we have discussed that. The noise, and then the delay, and then the noise of the thing opening is like a big thing we don't have. But obviously the focus so far has just been like, do you understand what happens? As in when the player's looking at it, do you understand what happens?
And whenever
and they do now.
We can't rely on it anyway.
Check. It's a cool noise. Yes, but I think it's basically on my list before we do more public demos to turn this into a thing, which I think now, like I said, it functions and people get it, but it's not a moment that it needs to be. I can see it being a cool thing and it needs some more time. Wow, Unreal Engine is really lunching my CPU today. Interesting. Maybe it's been doing it a while and I've just not noticed because I've not been also transcoding. We'll just have to get on with it for tonight and I will investigate it later. Wow, it's really hammering it. So apologies if it looks like the stream's holding on, but I
haven't been monitoring the stream itself. I'm sure someone will let us know.
Yeah, I have a look at the stream health thing. It seems okay, but
I mean, I guess you're also you got Discord as well.
Yes,
you could probably turn Discord down to like 480. I don't mind. I don't mind potato quality. Okay. I don't know what the game looks like.
Apologies, user, streamer, watchers. How do I do that?
I think you would have to reshare the Discord thing.
Oh, okay. Let's just do that quickly. Sorry, guys, because this is. Oh, I see. Yes, let's do that. Let's just help out a little bit. Don't know how much difference that'll make, but
it's fine. We're a pixel game. The pixels are all smeared in an ugly, awful way, but I'll cope. No.
So apologies, guys. It looks like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just taking a bit more CPU than it used to. Okay, what was I going to say? So this mysterious orange block, I remember why I did this. This is one of those things where it falls into that like gap of looks like you can nearly do it. So a lot of people came up here and tried this, and we'd like them to try it once, but because you can kind of, you know what I mean? Because you actually get near something. A lot of people tried it a lot of times.
So and I think need that
just put the wall, just further away, and you need something like, I don't know, like a couple of tiles. There's a couple of tiles. If you miss it by a couple of tiles, you kind of know that, that's not happening. Whereas that, when I saw people try it several times, I'm like, I can't really blame you. It looks like you can kind of do that. Wow, this is really killing it. Fine. Okay, so this bit's interesting because it's funny why I keep this around is it was obviously like a last minute little thing that was stuck in these little section of platforms, but seemingly they've exposed so many bugs. Like there's just something about this bit that that I've seen so many bugs. I've got them all sent over to Rex. It's quite interesting, but actually when watching people play it outside of bugs, it wasn't very interesting. It just kind of does. I think we can swap it with something nicer later. So again with this, it basically works. There's some sort of polished things that I'd like to change, but again, the whole focus has been, do people get it and understand it? Because the demo before, the playtest before the one we sent out, people just didn't like. There were lots of problems that just led to people not really understanding what was going on, and not too much of that happened. I was pleased to see this work, by the way. I definitely saw more than one person try and fling themselves off this edge, and because we made this bigger, they don't anymore.
Great.
Though this brings up another thing as well, which reminded me. Now again, my frame rate's a bit funny because CPU's gone funny, but so we had this issue, which I think is fixed in the version I've got now, where it's come back. Where basically, if you did running jumps like this, that your momentum isn't constant. When you land, it would just kill it, which feels really weird. And the funny thing is, I knew I shouldn't have said this, but so me and Rex got it sorted where it wouldn't do that anymore, and then at some point, other Ed's animation has gone in, that kind of I'm really jumping here animation, and it's back. There's this big dip in the momentum.
We'll have to speak to Rex about it then. I mean, that jump animation is fine and everything, but it shouldn't be triggering there.
I don't know what is meant to make it trigger, because obviously I've been laser focused on more fundamental stuff, which we'll discuss. But yeah, it's a bit strange.
Yeah.
So this AI setup, so again, there are issues which Joe's dealing with. We'll save that for another stream. They're a bit glitchy, but the important thing is, compared to last time, everyone understood what was going on. Everyone stayed in the hiding spot, and no one tried to attack them. Literally no one tried to attack them. And hey, we changed a couple of things, so it's hard to know, what did it exactly.
It's pretty glidey.
Yeah, I know. He's perfect. I know what you're talking about. What was I going to say? Yeah, so obviously the prompt for this actually working was obviously made a big difference. But also, interestingly, I think it's one of the people testing in particular pointed out. It's I said, why did I can't remember, but in a very sort of obscure manner, I kind of asked, why did you attack this guy? Why weren't you afraid of this guy? Why weren't you bothered? And he's like, well, I just thought it was some NPC with a torch. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. So you've added the slightly more imposing looking guy with a very obvious weapon, and between that and there being two of them, people just don't seem to try their luck anymore. So that's cool. Oh no, it's that bug again. I wonder if that's frame rate related too. Interesting. We'll see how far we get. Yeah, that's better. A fun thing as well, I can't work out how to stop people doing without kind of crippling the whole thing, is everyone wanted to go up here. It's because it's kind of the most lit, I suppose, but The important thing is, while that didn't work, this did. I watched basically most people did end up coming up this right-hand side, just nudging towards the door and being like, okay, I can't open this door.
But there's a switch.
Yeah, I know, right? Genius. Not that genius, but
Good.
Nice to see it work.
When they work, yeah.
So this has been played with since, and we'll discuss that shortly. This was the saddest part. I don't remember which part, but some part of this tutorial fell off, so people didn't understand it. I honestly don't remember now which part, but the important bit was there's just a bit missing, and still everyone.
One of the ghosts was triggering too late. I think. Oh, that might have been another time, but the ghosts definitely weren't triggering properly there until you kind of got to the top of the column, by which point you'd already sort of worked it out.
Yes.
Hey, anyway, I can't remember.
But yeah, this one, by comparison to the last one, this one with a much subtler point of interest worked. And it's also, to be honest, a bit of setup as well. Like, this is quite, it's quite obvious when you know what you're looking for, but the important thing is it worked. Everyone did it. So yeah, I'm basically trying to just put this back, copy this down to the other one because it just worked. I don't want to argue with it for now until we revisit the switches again. And yeah, this wasn't very interesting, but don't get me wrong, like, we could obviously make this more exciting, but the point is it worked. There's only one guy, they get the setup, so you're like, okay, cool, we can understand that. And so yeah, that was actually the end of that. And I'm trying to think, the main things really were actually that basically everyone managed to get to here pretty much, and everyone understood it. No one got completely stuck. I think everyone just felt the controls weren't quite responsive enough. And there's a bunch of stuff we're going to look at for that. I can save the details for another time because I don't have quite as much time this evening as normal. But some of it purely is like the literal numbers we have for the walking speed, the running speed, and some of the other speed stuff were just plucked out the air. Like, they were just came from what kind of felt right. And to be honest, I tend to agree with people. Like, this walk is too slow. Obviously I've lost all kind of concept because I work on it. I don't know if the animation looks like they're meant to walk that fast. I don't care, frankly. Like, and I think the difference between this speed and that speed isn't enough. So there's there's some maneuverability to have there. The run, a little bit. I don't think it needs to be more. And I think actually part of it is I don't know how the momentum ramps up and down. I've not studied it, but there's probably more we can do there to make it feel more like a thing. So I think those are all fair. And the other side of it, which was again leading to it as we discussed, is there's a lot of latency with things like a lot of times we'd ignore inputs, or it would be very slow to respond to climbing up ledges. And I've realized what all of them are. All the ones that used to annoy me are basically, it's all the ones where if I jump like this, I should grab it and hang. If my intention when I'm in the air, even before I landed it, is I want to hang and just wait, what we've got already is great. But if I'm already, like, I'm in the air and I already know I just want to go straight up, it's excruciatingly slow. Like, you're just like, oh my God, get up. And I think actually that's good because that's easily solvable. Like, you can just interrupt it at certain points rather than, because, it goes into the settle, kind of goes down to go up, and it's I think we'll solve that. And the same with the wall jumps as well. Like, I realized that again with the frame rate I'm not going to do it so well, but watching what people do and watching what I do when I just try and turn my brain off and knowing how it works is you want to press the button and you want them to at least start responding to your input the second like a pixel of them touches the wall. But at the moment, that's not how it works. It's like when the first frame of the armor turning round animation starts. So those are all pretty easy to fix. It's funny speaking to Rex about it. Like, I was like, yeah, look, I just want to, for now, just, as a developer, I just want to, if I press this button, I just want this to just stop. Like, I want this animation to just quit immediately. And he's like, do you know how much effort I've put in to make sure that never happens? And I'm like, yeah, well, I want it. So... and we'll get there, but I mean it's quite funny because he's completely right. In the final game there'll be different animations to fill those different size gaps, so you don't ever want to have one that is completely skipped. But at the moment I'm like, yeah, this is where the problem is. Like, this is where we can see on the videos of people playing the game they're hammering A because it doesn't do what they want fast enough. So yeah, I think we'll solve all that. And then actually I think that's probably that for like actual gameplay stuff. Let's have a talk about the wider world. So,
look at
all
that beautiful.
There's a lot. Okay, so remembering where we left it last time, we'll just catch people up for those who don't religiously watch. Why not? So the next bit here, basically, this is where all our user research stuff has ended, and that's where we can go, okay, by this point, we are confident that certain mechanics, the ones we've gone through. And then the idea was like, okay, well, you understand that. Now we're going to tell you about quests. We're going to provide you with a basic quest that is essentially go up, right? Go through here, do a thing, and I'll meet you there. this is all going to change, but what this was is essentially you've got to work out how to. Oh, Joe, Mr. Wintergreen, and his endless memes. These guys, the Sandy boys,
Sandy boy, nice.
These sand monsters are now originally were just something that you could only kill them in a particular way, and that was kind of interesting. But with sort of the idea now is to double down on it a bit and be like, no, they only work by hearing, and they're very good at killing you if they hear you, because we haven't done a lot with hearing stuff so far, and we haven't done much to like stop you from running everywhere, which, to be honest, within reason for this first chunk, I'm kind of fine with. It's a lot of fun to run around. I'm not super upset. As we discussed, we can probably nudge this AI room a bit earlier, as much for interest as for, to make people slightly more cautious. But I don't mind, it's fun, let them have fun. But then here we want to go, well, sometimes there are consequences. So we'll work on that. But the idea is you'd come up here, you'd get rid of them, and then you'd come to this nice safe area, and Hester would be like, good job, buddy. I always believed in you. And then you would progress through this lift. And initially, I can't even remember now what was supposed to happen. Do you remember what was supposed to happen?
Crikey. What you mean in terms of having the unlock location here?
It changed a lot.
It wasn't here.
Yeah, exactly.
Here at all. It was, if you pan left, it was in that bit that you're on the top of the tower on the left. It was up there, right?
Oh yeah. I remember.
I guess
but anyway, the important thing is, it's changed a hell of a lot. If you look at last episode, because I did check beforehand, it's completely unrecognizable, which is good.
I mean, there's stuff that was painted up that has been claimed to the grey fog.
Yes, yeah.
Whitebox
I will get to that in a second. So the other thing to mention as well is initially we kind of got some pulse wings up here as an intro to them. But I suspect because now the sand monsters are a bigger deal, we'll need all this space to give enough breathing room for teaching all the different things about them and just
be chased around.
Yeah, I think it'll just be more fun. Which means that the pulse wings get nudged down to here now, and this is your obvious gating setup. It's like, right, well, there's no way to get from over here to over here without using this. And if you fall down, it's fine. You can get straight back up. And likewise, there's another one here. And if you fall down, well, okay, you only have to do one of the two. But yes, that's a good time to mention as well the sandbox tiles. So there is actually a grey background tile now. Super exciting, I know. But as someone who spends all day doing that, like, the other stuff is really starting to burn my eyes. So it's kind of nice to have it. And again, as you've said, like, it makes it as readable as the full tile maps. Even when you're like this, like, you can see exactly what that is.
I still think it's a shame that the orange stuff doesn't lead off to black. Because then they would connect up. And look like the same black mass as one shape when you're looking at it from a distance. But hey.
Definitely. But I will actually, no, I'm not going to risk it. I won't risk playing it at the moment. It's a bit unstable. But so the deal is, you come off the lift here, and then you've got your first little gating of the pulse wing. So we get that, and you move in. And then this has actually changed. I can actually fire up the thing, but let's just run through this because we're kind of catching up on a few months of, off and on work. This is my idea for it. So the thing is, we want to have lots of space for your unlock chest here, so I just gave it loads of room. But this was deliberately quite quiet. It's just like, right, well, we want to, let you relax a little bit after basically just relentlessly teaching and showing you things. And I also like the idea that if the midden up here, because it's got a couple of NPCs and we're trying to paint it as a safe area, if that's quite noisy, it's got some music going on, some ambient and whatever. And I like the idea that gradually you come down the lift and it gets quieter and it gets quieter and it gets quieter. And then around here, there's basically nothing, because then, when you get your amazing, I don't know, you totally got the chest, you got the unlock noise, then it's that much more impactful. So you gave this some space where you don't really do a lot, but equally, importantly, every one of these is like wall run height, and you don't have that yet. So basically, once you come down here, you're not going back. You can't go back going down any of these at all. You can't go through this door yet, but you could probably see what was over there. So you come through and you grab this, which is the wall run. and then immediately, obviously you could go back this way, but because it's a crouch, and I think most people are going to be like, I don't really want to do that. Then now we're enforcing it, right? The dark, as Ed says, the Dark Souls bonfire noise. Yeah, something like that. I'm obviously it's a common trick, but it's a common trick because it always works. I like games where you have that thing where it gets quieter and just everything is quiet, and then you have something like that just it just seems so much nicer.
Ring the bell to make the dog salivate.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, so now this is the point where we go, right, well, we need to make sure that you understand this completely and its range. So we need to make sure that you understand, look, you can run up a completely flat wall, like 90 degrees or thereabouts. Obviously, I know that is, but when the tiles are painted, they tend to soften them a bit. So you can run up there. And then this way, you can't go back. That's too tall. And this one, there's a little ledge on it. But again, we're just saying, well, yeah, you can do both. It's fine. Because some people I noticed ages ago, and we had wall run earlier, would be cautious of one or the other. So anyway, we go, there you go, there's that. And then hopefully this is the bit that has taken a bit of nudging around, but I hope will work as long as we make these ones look as similar to this down here, is that you go, okay, well, now we drop you back down here, where you were earlier, where you were the pillars. And the idea is that you go, oh, okay, yeah, this looks, I reckon I can get up here now. So you go through there, and then at this point, that's at least 3, I want to say 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 times we know that you've done the wall run. So we're like, okay, you get that now.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. Cool. Did you know that you could also run up there and then jump right at the top? I realize it's hardly a massive revelation, but you notice a lot of people would do it only a little bit, or, they'd slide down. So you're like, okay, well, you don't quite have to min-max this, but you have to do a good job. So you do that, and then again, you do it again, and then, and there you go, there's your 3. You're like, boop, you're up there. And if you're the inquisitive types, you can be like, oh, okay, I see how this links up. I still can't get here yet. And, oh, what's this up here that I also can't reach? But if you don't do that, that's fine, because when you bounce off these walls, you'd end up about here. And then this is still work in progress, even from what Ed's got. But, the idea here would be that, okay, now you've got a bit more of the stealth challenge. There are actually multiple paths. Actually, to leave some stuff out here, because before you could literally just take the top or the middle or the bottom. And I'm like, well, no. I want you to have a closer look. So you can get to here if you want, but then you're going to end up here. And the idea is that you'd have some guards over here. So you could, I'll grab this because it always works better. You could just come in this way. But that's going to be quite difficult. And so again, this is the first time we go, well, hey, look, if you're switched on, you see this? You remember these guys? You remember these? Well, hey, look, there's places you can go. I've still left him there. Let's move you aside. Cool. So there are options, basically, and we just, that's a way to convey some of that to you. And then we have a thing here where we have the switch that everyone's probably hopefully starting to get a bit bored of, but that's fine. And a pole swing. So, work your way up there, work your way down here. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing too exciting, but again, the same kind of consistent setup. Drop down here, and then again, you're like, okay, I remember this. And then that will link into this thing. But that's probably a good time for me to just quickly show you Ed's interpretation of my scribbles. Just a minute. I should have had these prepared, but I'm incredibly professional. Here we go. Boop. Okay, so that's what happened to my scribbles. And let's remember this. So this didn't change at all down here. This was a nice change because Ed quite rightly is like, well, look, these are kind of, I can see these as 2 separate tile sets. I can see this as, part of that one as it initially was, this aqueduct. That's the word I was looking for. So I'll make this aqueduct again, and I'll kind of shift this over here, and there's still enough space to do whatever they want to do with that to make it impressive. So this stays the same. This stays about the same. It doesn't have the same way of coming down, but again, it's just kind of a quiet period. And you drop down these, and this will work. This all worked. And then the funny thing is, this is the classic like art and design thing. It comes up a lot, and it's fine because both sides understands the other. So this was like this before with this sticky out bit, and I deliberately deleted it because through watching people play now, I know people, they'll try and run to jump for that. And it's just like, I just rather you didn't, like, it just feels bad. So it's just like, just shave that one off. It's fine. It's like, but then it's not symmetrical. But we have to deal with that sometimes.
Break them.
Yes, but it always works.
Nobody expects a tower underground to be in good nick. It's fine.
Exactly. And then, so this bottom bit, you can see it's basically the same. But the funny thing is, what I should have done is, you and Ed chatted about this, and I realized I should have clarified, how this connects to the bit beyond. Because I was looking over here and going, why is this bit here and how does this work? And I was like, oh, he's moved them back up. And he's like, yeah, I wanted to move them back up so there was more distance between the top and the bottom bit. And I'm like, oh, well, I moved them down so that there wasn't. But other than that, that comes across quite nicely. And then I will quickly find, let's go back. Here we go. So fix that up. Come here, you. And then I'm like, yep, cool. Everyone gets everything they want now. So I get to keep my, 2 of these guys, the wall run jump things. And we get into that area, so that's neat. And then there's the other bit, which he just started on. Let me find that. Whoop. There we go. So again, managed to preserve most of what I'd like to have, but again, just using more of the actual art that's there. Mm-hmm. So he manages to get these to work again, gets rid of this horrible L shape, which by my admission wasn't I want this shape. It's well, because of the way our game works, and we're still got to decide what we're going to do about falling damage and stuff. Mm-hmm. This side cannot meet this side for now, and of course art's got a far more elegant solution to that, so that's good. I think that reads pretty well. I think that's nice. There's just the tower up here to discuss, but other than that, it's good.
That tower isn't really important for now. It becomes important awfully soon.
Yes,
but definitely for the loop that we're on, nobody cares. So.
Yeah, no, it can just be tidied up slightly, and it works fine. So yeah, that gets you back down to here. Yeah, and then this is starting to happen, right?
Yeah, those are less connected together than they used to be. Well, I thought it made more sense given that there was 2 sets of work. That was that one's not locationally locked, obviously, as the other one is. That's just, hey, this is what this needs to do. Oh, you'll need to move the.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, why is one of them stuck? And I think it's just because I just managed to grab it somehow. Can you alt select? Oh, no, you can't. You still can't do that. It's very upsetting. Close enough. I'm obviously not going to save this, so. So where does this one go?
All of the bits should have been in the right place. Just the tile map would have been in the wrong place.
I know, but I moved it earlier. Never mind. To be honest, we can save that for another time because
I think that makes sense, because by the time when we come to this next week, that will be a real boy.
Yes.
And
so all
the mushroom excitement under there. Yeah, that might. Yeah. I mean, they at least might have art SketchUps.
Yes.
And we'll have some timings, and maybe the mushrooms won't look awful, and we might even be able to look at the set piece down there. Who knows?
I enjoyed the subtle rising intonation there.
Well, I mean, I know. They're fine, but just the light that's on them has not been configured by an artist, Chris. It's
really?
Yeah.
It's very searingly bright. Okay, I think, as I said, yeah, I do need to cut it slightly shorter this week, unfortunately, but I am now back in the groove and over the hump of all the mistakes I made on the way. This extra CPU usage is interesting. Game development. But yes, I think that'll do for this week. So thank you very much. We'll be back in the regular slot now. So that's 7 p.m. our time. I'll get the normal things. I'll remember all the different time zones in the future, I promise. But we'll be back same time next week. So thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.